A very good evening from a floodlit Silver Lake Stadium as Eastleigh host Woking in the National League. The Spitfires looking to go top of the table should other results go their way, whereas Woking come into this match off the back of just one win in their last 5 outings. Eastleigh dominant at home at the moment, yet to taste defeat in a home game in the National League with 4 wins and a point to their name against Sutton United. I'm delighted to be joined this evening by Woking Club chaplain Ian Nicholson. Ian, good evening.
Evening, Tom. Evening, everybody.
So we'll go through the teams just as we're waiting for both the Spitfires and the Cardinals to come out of the tunnel down below us. It's no changes whatsoever for the hosts this evening from that 4-2 win against Rochdale on Saturday. So it's Joe McDonnell in goal, Jake Vokins, Ludwig Franchelette, Niall Marr and Richard Brindley making up a back 5. Lloyd Humphreys, Jake Taylor, who captains the side, and Angel Warui in the middle with Chris Maguire and Tyree Shade either side of Paul McCallum. On the bench for the hosts this evening is an unchanged bench as well. Tommy Scott, Luis Fernandez, Lee Hodson, Corey Panther, Noah Boutin, Jai Semenyo and Wes McDonald. Well, Michael Doyle makes 3 changes to the Woking side that got that 1-1 draw at AFC Fylde at the weekend. Anderson, Akinola and Butaman are out for Lewis Walker, Ben Winter and Dion Kelly-Evans. So in goal, Will Jaskelainen, Dan Moss, Cian Harries, Max Deitch, Ben Winter and Raheem Conte. In the middle we've got Dale Gorman, Dion Kelly-Evans, Jamie Andrews, and it looks, Ian, like it's going to be a forward 2 of Charlie Kendall and Lewis Walker. And you were saying pre-match that's looking a bit more positive.
Well, it's a different formation. I think quite a few games this season Michael Doyle started with 1 up top and then switched to 2 up top later on. There have been a few games where he's certainly at home, but to be away and start with 2 up top I think is a slight change. But both Charlie Kendall, Lewis Walker had a really good game on Saturday, scored a great goal, and Charlie Kendall has been on fire as well. So they have been the 2 forwards who've stood out most this season. So it's and I'm just listening to the fans either side of us. We've got Eastleigh and Woking fans having a good singing contest or chanting contest to our right.
I have to say it's a good away following that Woking have brought this evening.
It's not very far, is it? But it's I think a couple of years ago I think we brought 1,000, but that was when we were close to the playoffs. So this year, but it's still, as you say, probably a couple of hundred.
Well, the teams have just come out of the tunnel. Eastleigh in their typical home strip, all blue with some white trim at the bottom of the sleeves and shorts and blue socks. Woking in their traditional red and white halves, black shorts and black socks as they just go and shake hands. And just the 1 away win for Woking this season, that was against Ebbsfleet, who are themselves struggling. Eastleigh haven't lost yet at home. What do you see? What do you expect from today's game?
Well, I think, as we were saying earlier, I think Woking have been quite slow out of the blocks on a number of games this season, and but I don't think that's by design. I think whether it's a mentality, whether it's younger players, but hopefully, I think as their confidence begins to build, they finished very strongly on Saturday. I think as their confidence begins to build, hopefully the team will find a bit of rhythm, and also young players will find that they really can mix it at this level, and they are good players.
Well, if they are going to get a result this evening, there's one man that they've got to keep quiet, and that is Eastleigh's number 9, Paul McCallum, who you were saying to me before we went on air is sort of you thought he was maybe in the twilight years of his career, but he has got 35 goals in all competitions last season and 7 to his name already this season.
Well, exactly, yes. When we played Dagenham a few times, we did well against Dagenham, and McCallum really didn't feature hugely. But obviously last season he was on fire and is carrying on this season. So I'm sure in any pre-match preparation from managers and coaches, Paul McCallum and how to handle him comes up a lot.
So there's live commentary on the BBC Sport website and app for BBC Radio. Sorry, I'll just quickly go through the subs bench for Woking. It's Ollie Webber, Jacob Jones, Dion Moore, Tunji Akinola, Matt Ward, who you were saying, Ian, is such a prospect at the moment, alongside Jermaine Anderson and Tom Leahy as well. But tell me about Matt Ward. I mean, he's already had a few goal involvements so far this season, 21 years of age, and at the moment you think will be brought on later in the game because he has a bit of pace, a bit of flair that can terrorise the defence.
Yeah, he's a terrific prospect. He came from Ipswich, was on trial with Woking, and it was left quite late. I think Woking were having to count the pennies at that time, and but he came on. His first 2 games was on fire, scored a goal, made a couple, and he was very good as well on Saturday. So, but other teams now will be aware of Matt Ward and what he can do.
The referee, the man in the middle this evening, Richie Watkins, has already taken charge of a few games this season, 2 in the National League, 1 in League 2 and the EFL Trophy. As we are underway, and it will be Woking who will kick us off at the Silver Lake as they hit it out towards that right hand side, and Lewis Walker just trying to make his way down the right channel, and Eastleigh are able to latch onto that little back heel and get it up towards halfway and out of play for the first throw of the game, which goes the way of the Cardinals midway inside the Eastleigh half on that far side. Gorman picks up the ball on his chest and then hits it high into the night sky towards the right corner of the penalty area. It'll drop down and kindly for Jake Taylor, who will just lash it up towards halfway, and it goes straight back into the hands of the visitors, who now come down the right hand side. Flat ball into the middle of the half, and that's going to be the first foul, as there was a nudge in the back on that far side. It's about 10 yards inside the Eastleigh half on the right hand side, and it's a good opportunity here for Woking to get the ball into the box.
Yeah, and Woking on their day can produce some good set pieces. Dale Coleman, sometimes he's been a bit hit and miss this season, but certainly on Saturday they definitely improved. They can be whipped in, and we'll see if they can cause any damage for Woking.
Well, everyone's back for Eastleigh except one man in the Spitfires wall, and there's a line of blue and white and red shirts who are across the face of the penalty area. The left arm goes up from Gorman, and here comes the right footed delivery. It's a decent one, but it's headed up in the air by an Eastleigh defender towards the edge of the box, drops down, and then at the second attempt there was another push in there, and Richie Watkins blows for a foul for the hosts, and they'll have a free kick on the edge of the box. Just a minute and a half gone. Currently remains goalless, but Woking have made, I'd say, a fairly bright start so far.
Yes, they've been on the front foot and haven't seen much of Eastleigh yet. They haven't really had much possession to do much with, but yes, looking as you say, as if they're looking to get on the front foot.
And the Woking fans really making a great noise away to our right as the ball goes high into the night sky, flicked on by McCallum. It's well dealt with at the back by Harries, but McCallum's there again on the edge of the box, tries to knock it to Vokins down the left hand side, who does manage to get across into the box, and it is going to go out of play for the first corner of the game. A little fortuitous in the way that came about, but I have to say good determination by Jake Vokins on the far side to keep that one alive. Yeah,
Woking fans will know Jake Vokins well. He was on loan at Woking, I think it was the last year or the year before, from Southampton. Tidy left-sided player.
Yeah, and he started off his campaign fantastically with 2 goal involvements against Maidenhead, as Eastleigh began the season with a 2-0 victory. Set one up and then scored direct from a free kick, where it just bounced all the way through. Kelvin Davis using his Southampton links to bring him to the club, but Eastleigh just waiting to take this first corner of the evening. So over on that far side it'll be Maguire, the Scot, to take this one. Of course, the messes of Marr and McCallum just hanging underneath the crossbar as the delivery does come in. It is quite dangerous. It goes over Jääskeläinen, and luckily for Woking it will come towards this near side where it's picked up by Humphreys. Tyree Shade on this right hand side turns and forced by Andrews to go back into the middle to Wario, and that's a really poor ball over to the left hand side, and Woking able to latch onto that, and then the ball back is almost taken by an EC defender, and then it's hit over the top, and it's a bit of a foot race at the back, and Wario does well to compose himself. But Woking are coming again. The clearance was poor, long range effort well over the bar, but just a bit of frantic play there for the moment, Ian, and Woking looked like they might have got in behind. Eastleigh didn't clear their lines, and then Woking came again.
Yeah, end to end, and Woking, as you say, cleared their lines. It was a long ball through that Kendall controlled brilliantly, but slightly overshot, and then but Eastleigh snuffed it out, and in the end Dale Gorman's shot was way over the bar, but exciting passage of play there.
Yeah, signs of a decent game. This isn't a match that necessarily reaps goals. It's only had just 5 goals in total in the last 6 meetings between the two sides, so I don't think we can expect a 5-all thriller this evening.
We'll see.
I just jinxed it now, haven't I? We're going to have the greatest National League evening of all time. Woking in possession at the moment, as it looks like there's going to be an injury to Paul McCallum, who off the ball is just now down on his haunches, and Richie Watkins is calling for medical treatment, but Paul McCallum is just waving it away, and Eastleigh fans would certainly have their hearts in their mouths for that moment. And Woking, perhaps you don't want to ever see a player injured, but someone with the calibre of Paul McCallum, you may just think that's something that can go in your favour.
I couldn't possibly comment on that, but it's no, whether he hit his ear, though, there's 2 or 3 players went up for the ball, and whether he got clobbered on the ear, but he seems okay now. Yeah. I was just looking. For Ludovic Francelet is probably 6'6", I would think, 6'5", 6'6", and standing right on Jaskalainen for that corner.
And Jaskalainen's clearance is headed back by Taylor, but straight down the throat of Woking, who try and loft it over the left hand side where Conte is running on, and then it's a header out from a Eastleigh defender for a Woking throw, which is allowed to bounce towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's a good recovering challenge. And Eastleigh just struggling to really get it out of their lines, but quick feet from Angel Waru, and Brindley on the right hand side will try and bend it. Unfortunately for him, he bends it out of play, and it will go the way of the visitors, a throw on halfway.
Woking really pressurising Eastleigh in defence there, and they're struggling to clear their lines because it's a lot of energy from the Woking front 3 or 4, and panic's probably the wrong word, but certainly struggling to clear their lines.
Deitch's throw is flicked on by Lewis Walker, goes out of play again on this near side, but that goes the way of Eastleigh. Just 6 minutes gone here at the Silver Lake Stadium, 0-0 in the National League. Live on BBC Radio, online on the BBC Sport website and app. Myself, Tom Murray, alongside Ian Nicholson, as Shade is forced towards his own goal, and his clearance with his left foot is picked up about 30 yards from goal, and Conte will try and drive down the left, and he almost gets past his man, but he has to go back onto his left foot and cut back. He's got 2 players around him. Does well to get the cross out of his feet, but goes straight to an Eastleigh player, and Deitch will get the clearance on halfway and tries to hit that one forward, falls on the chest of an Eastleigh defender, and they will hack it up towards halfway, where it will be picked up once more by Ben Winter, the number 21, right of centre on halfway, and he will turn back to Cian Harries in the heart of the defence. Over to Max Deitch in the left centre back position, under pressure from Eastleigh, forced backwards, and Woking go long. Flicked up and over to Kellyman, and he might try and get through a couple of Eastleigh defenders, but they do really well to muscle him off the ball. It was Charlie Kendall who's just running through the 2 Eastleigh centre backs, but they communicated well, Marr and Francelet, to snuff that one out. But all it took was a long ball, a little flick on, and almost through on goal.
Again, a bit of danger there from Woking.
Header up into the air in the Eastleigh half. It's a little bit frantic. Neither side really having a sustained spell of possession at the moment. Bit of head tennis going on. And it will be picked up once again by Warui in the middle, who's been absolutely everywhere for Eastleigh so far. On the left hand side is Marr, tries to get it up the left channel, and it's been going under the foot, and a low cross in from Jake Vokins, high into the stand. McCallum nods it down, and Woking try and get on the loose ball, comes onto the chest of Humphreys, and his ball out towards the right hand side is latched on by Raheem Conte, and that touch is too heavy from him as he was trying to get down the left channel. Shade will come forward as it's end to end at the Silver Lake. Brindley with the first time ball into Humphreys, the number 4, plays it back into the heart of the Eastleigh defence to Francelet, and he'll spray a low ball out towards the left hand side on halfway now with Vokins, tries to nick it past the defender. The touch is fortuitous and goes back to the left back. Eastleigh have it in the middle with Maguire. Diagonal ball over towards this near side, collected on the thigh of Shade. He'll try and line up Conte in the left wing back position. Brindley running inside, will try and bend it into the box. It hits the head of Humphreys and will go harmlessly over the bar.
Quite breathless, isn't it, really?
I'm trying to find a place to stop here, but at the moment, with just coming up to 9 minutes gone at the Silver Lake, 0-0, but not short of chances or goalmouth action.
No, it's been both teams have started at pace, particularly I would say Woking, who you could have thought they could have started a bit on the back foot, but they certainly haven't, and pressing forward well.
Deitch has done really well to thread it through to Kendall, and the flag has gone up as he puts the ball in the back of the net. Cheers away to our right, but the flag had gone up several decades before as the ironic cheers go out, and it's actually going to be a yellow card for Charlie Kendall. And I have to say, Ian, the players knew at the beginning of the season what the letter of the law was. The whistle has gone, and about 5 seconds later he's still having a shot.
Yeah, it's on the other hand very, very annoying, but again, good opening there for Woking.
It was a nice pick out, that's for sure. If he just stayed onside, we were talking about a fairly decent through ball. Is again a bit of head tennis about 30 yards out from the Woking goal, but it's collected by Gorman and he'll go safe to Winter, who just struts forward on that right hand side. Firm ball down the right channel in search of Kendall. He's going to try and get on the wrong side of Francelet, but the 6'7" Guadeloupe centre back is always winning that battle. Onto the thigh of Maguire, and that's to the feet of Humphreys. Tries to dink it over to this right channel, and Conte takes it away off the feet of Shade. Thumbs up from Eastleigh's number 10. Right idea from Humphreys, but it's good defended by Conte. Out for a throw about 10 yards from the corner flag on this near side, 0-0.
Yeah, good covering from Conte, who I don't think is a natural wing back at all, but he covered his lines well, and it looks like we've got probably a long throw coming in here.
I tell you what, Paul McCallum is coming over to take the long throw, and Eastleigh will wish that they could have him take the throw and him to throw high enough to get on the end of his own throw. But he's currently just drying off the ball. It is quite the run-up from Eastleigh's top scorer. Fairly packed in that penalty area. Still goalless here at the Silver Lake. Live commentary of the National League. Here comes the throw from McCallum. It's a fairly flat one towards the front post. Flicked on at the back post. Oh, and the header is not dealt with at the back post. In fact, he headed it right back the way it came. It really should be 1-0 to Eastleigh, because it's a stooping header about a couple of yards out at the back stick, and he's not able to direct it into the back of the net.
No, it's a long throw, but also a very flat throw as well, which took Woking by surprise.
McDonnell trying to find the run of Shade again, but Conte with his head to that one. Maguire receives the loose ball, and that delivery is not going to find anyone but a man in a Woking shirt. Eastleigh still have it with the Scot Maguire, so experienced in the Football League for Portsmouth, Sunderland, Sheffield Wednesday. Brindley now on this near channel, and Tyree Shea picks up the ball and drives back into his own half. Michael Doyle just on the touchline, wanting his players to just come over, push up. Eastleigh with a firm ball into the middle, and it's just about collected by Marr, and then his first time pass out towards that left hand side was nowhere near Vokins, and that'll go the way of Woking.
Yeah, good pressure by Gorman there, drawing the mistake.
Cian Harries across the face of his own box to Daichu, under a bit of pressure from Humphreys, had to hit that first time up towards halfway. They'd have dealt with that one. Tries at the second attempt to loft it through to Kendall again. Francelet is winning that one, and the loose ball, it's well challenged, but Lewis Walker's not going to get onto the second one. Warrior will now drive over halfway for Eastleigh. Options to his left, but he goes behind Vokins and takes the sting out of the attack for now. Humphreys in the middle of the pitch. A player is down in the centre circle. The referee hasn't stopped the game, and that's a diagonal ball over towards this right hand side. Shade's not going to keep that one in, and now a player can receive treatment, and I think that might be Charlie Kendall who's on his back.
No, it's Dale Gorman.
Dale Gorman.
Dale Gorman went in for the tackle, and it looked, they both went in for it. There wasn't anything vicious there, but it looked like he tried to get up and immediately went back down again.
The second stoppage that we have had for an injury, and it's only 13 minutes gone. Elsewhere in the National League this evening, Altrincham are 1-0 up against Dagenham and Redbridge. Oldham also have the lead against Forest Green Rovers, but aside from that, goalless across the board. Other fixtures happening tonight: Aldershot against Barnet, Braintree, Halifax, Fylde host Tamworth, Gateshead against Boston United, Hartlepool against Rochdale, Maidenhead 0, Ebbsfleet 0, Solihull, Sutton and Wiltstone also hosting York, Yeovil and Southend. Now, Ian, whilst we've just got a bit of a stoppage as Gorman just receives treatment, I want to pick your brains about the National League Cup, because it certainly caused a bit of controversy, this new competition. 16 National League sides, 16 under-21 sides from the Football League and the Premier League. Woking have opted to be in the competition. They'll be playing against Brighton, Fulham, Southampton and Reading under-21s in the group stage, but Eastleigh were fairly vocal with withdrawing from the competition themselves, so it's certainly split opinion.
It has, and there are some teams, I think Yeovil aren't in it, and quite a few have said they won't be in it. I think certainly it's fair to say it's divided Woking fans, or maybe not divided them. There are a lot of Woking fans who are not particularly interested in that competition, but as we were saying, the money is there, and Woking also were probably in a position over the summer of needing money. So it wasn't, you can't turn down that when you're trying to keep a business going and keep a club going. But it'll be interesting to see what sort of team the different managers play. With Woking's small squad, I can't believe Michael Dawes particularly enamoured of having to risk some of his key players in that sort of tournament,
especially when it's being played from October through to April. Key parts of the season as well.
Totally. And I think clubs, you already see a lot of clubs now sadly devalue the FA Trophy by not playing their strongest teams. But it's I think we'll have to see how it goes. Speaking purely personally, I'm not a great lover of under 21 football or under 23 football. I think players need to go out and play in other teams and really earn their stripes, and the best players do. Raheem Conte will learn far more playing for Woking this season than he would for Cardiff under 21s.
Well, we are back underway at the Silver Lake. Dale Gorman is about to be let back on. He's recovered from that knock as the ball is just bouncing towards the corner flag as Maguire goes toe-to-toe with Deitch, who turns and hits it off the Eastleigh number 7 out for a throw. And it's pretty much as you were with a throw in exactly the same position to halt the game a few minutes ago. Throw down the line, where it's headed up into the air by Walker, now towards the edge of the box. There's another player who's gone down. I think it's Humphreys who's hit the deck. Jake Taylor getting to his feet, and Eastleigh now have a decent opportunity to whip the ball into the box. It's about 5-6 yards from the right corner of the box. Paul McCallum is already wandering towards the back post. Chris Maguire is looking directly at him, and I think we know, Ian, exactly where this is going to be popped from Eastleigh. And with Chris Maguire, a set-piece specialist in the National League, and Jake Vokins as well. It could be left foot, it could be a right-footed delivery. Either way, this is dangerous. The whistle goes from Richie Watkins. 0-0 at the Silver Lake, just shy of 17 minutes gone. It's going to be Vokins, and it is high towards the back post. Will Jaskalainen with a good double-handed punch. It's eventually just cleared towards the edge of the box. Eastleigh are going to come again with the second phase. Ball down the left, nice feet, back towards the edge of the box. It's going to be a first time, low effort, finds the bottom corner. And Eastleigh have taken 17 minutes and they have found the back of the net with a really, really nice move. And it's Tyree Shea who opens the scoring at the Silver Lake. Lovely ball towards the left corner of the box, pulled back, and it was a side-footed finish, arrowed past Will Jaskalainen, who's going to need a bit of treatment himself. But at the Silver Lake, 17 and a half minutes gone, it's Eastleigh 1, Woking 0.
Yeah, fine low shot, a low drive, went through a forest of players into the bottom corner. It's been a very even game, and Woking have had their chances so far. So it's I wouldn't say it's either for or against the run of play, but Eastleigh now with their nose in front at home, Woking need to dig deep. But they've shown enough in the first 15 minutes or so to show that they can really get back into this game.
Eastleigh find themselves in the lead yet again at the Silver Lake, yet to taste defeat in the National League at home. And Tyree Shea has put the Spitfires on course for yet another 3 points as they continue their assault on the summit of the National League. And now for Woking, as Jaskalainen continues to receive treatment, I think the knock that he's got from when the delivery was popped in originally by Jake Vokins is a double-handed punch, but there are plenty of players around him trying to get to the same ball. I wouldn't be surprised if he's been sandwiched between about 3 other people at the same time.
Yeah, it was like all these things, it was a real crush in the box, and Jaskalainen did quite well to punch that clear, but it's also quite likely that someone landed back on his foot. It was jumping up for it, and as they came down, there were so many players there, it'd be certainly quite possible. He looks still in some discomfort.
Of course, they do have Oliver Webber on the bench, the Northern Irish goalkeeper, born in Portsmouth, signed from Glentoran, yet to make an appearance so far this season. But Will Jaskalainen just having a little bit of a talking to with Cian Harries. You'd hope that it'd be okay to continue. He is walking a little gingerly, but I think he's given the fitness team a thumbs up, and he's going to be okay to continue. 19 and a half minutes gone. Had plenty of stoppages, so I wouldn't be surprised if we had 4 or 5 minutes added on to the end of this first half.
Yes,
when we get to even get to the halfway point. Woking have got work to do. They trail by a goal to nil. Tyree Shade breaking the deadlock as Walker down the right hand side trying to beat his man and get a cross into the box. It's going to be picked up by Gorman on the right side of the penalty area, works it back, and then the first time ball it's flat, doesn't get off the deck, but Woking will come again after Eastleigh only clear up towards halfway. The ball is spread over towards this left hand side with Deitch, who will try and take it down the left channel, but his first touch forces him to go back, and Woking will recycle possession with Harries. He and Deitch do a 1-2, and that ball just about evades the challenge of Maguire as Eastleigh threatening every time they come forward as Jake Taylor, his header goes down the right hand side, and Kelvin Davis just pushes Chris Maguire back into the pitch to chase that lost cause after the Scot had seemingly given up on it after a couple of yards. Throw into Woking on this near side, midway inside their own half. Flicked on by Kendall, Lewis Walker, and it was Francelette who's just come across and caught him. He's quickly back on his feet, but there was a sucking in of air, that's for sure, when those two came together.
Yeah, but a good flick on by Kendall, and it's a close thing with Walker there. He almost got in there first.
Dink ball towards the edge of the box. It's headed up and high, but Francelette will get that one clear. Woking try and get it forward themselves, and Eastleigh almost get themselves into a little bit of a mess at the back. Vokin's in the left back position, then hits it high up towards Tyree Shade. The bounce evades him, and Woking's ball back is really poor. Jääskeläinen's come out, but Paul McCallum flicks it into the box. Can Shea get his second? The bounce is not kind to him. McCallum puts it back into the mixer. Woking head it clear, but only as far as the edge of the box, and now Gorman will hit it down the right channel in search of Kendall. Up against Humphreys, he'll hit the deck and get himself a free kick, but that pass back putting Woking in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, it was stumbling a slip, but a quick ball there from Gorman.
Woking have taken the free kick quickly, diagonal ball, and now it's a turn of an Eastleigh player to hit the floor, but Richie Watkins not worried by that, and the game will continue with Woking back in their left back position. Now in the centre of the park with Dion Kelly-Evans out towards the right hand side. Flat ball quite centred towards about 30 yards out from goal, back towards halfway. Woking certainly had their fair share of possession, and every time they get forward they are asking questions of Eastleigh. There's a ball towards the back post, deep cross, no one was really going to get on the end of that one. It goes out of play for a goal kick. Midway point in the first half, although we have had a fair few stoppages, Eastleigh lead by a goal to nil. But Ian Nicholson, what are you taking home so far from that first 22 and a half minutes?
Well, I think it's been a positive start, but it's been an exciting game. I think Eastleigh, obviously they have the confidence being at home, being on such a good run, and the goal, it's almost like the goal was going to come. They've got a lot of firepower up front. But Woking have really acquitted themselves well, I think, and are playing with a lot of energy and asking questions of their own.
Long ball from McDonald. Bit of a graph between Deitch and Maguire, but it's then sent back the way of the Eastleigh defence, and Brindley will head it up into the middle of the pitch. Warrior can't quite get the connection that he wanted, and Woking managed to poke it away from the left foot of Paul McCallum, and they will bring it over towards that far side with Gorman. Making marauding runs down the right, and they're forced to turn back towards halfway. Gorman again, and they will recycle possession in the centre circle. Harries, left footed ball forward, and it's a nice turn. Walker back to goal, 35 yards out, working it nicely from left to right, and then that ball is poor from Deitch, and Brindley and Tyree Shea will latch onto that, the goal scorer, into the middle.
Conte following him all over the pitch.
And that does mean that Conte is now not in the left wing back position, and Eastleigh can come over with space. Maguire sets it up, ball into the box, and it was at thigh height, and it was well dealt with by Woking, and that's a nice turn by Lewis Walker as he will drive towards halfway. Going over, trying to get away from Lloyd Humphreys. He's got Comte to the left-hand side. Numbers forward for Woking. Comte drives at Brindley. Quick feet, left-footed cross is going to, unfortunately for him, go behind him. The deflection, and Eastleigh will now have a chance to bring it forward themselves. Humphreys will just poke it behind him, and the ball will go all the way back to Joe McDonnell in his all-green kit. 25 minutes gone at the Silver Lake in the National League. Woking trail by a goal to nil. And McDonnell will hit it diagonally over towards this near side, headed up in the air by Deitch, and at the second attempt into Kelly Evans, who then pokes it away from danger really, but it will go to Niall Marr, and he will just usher it back to his goalkeeper. Brindley in the right back position now for Eastleigh. Lewis Walker for company, but he instead goes back to Francelette, and then he will hit that fairly high into the night sky in search of Paul McCallum, who is wrestled off the ball by Harries, and that will go into the arms of Jaskalainen, who hasn't really had much to do since becoming a bit of a Woking and Eastleigh centre-back and striker sandwich for that first goal.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen yet whether he really wants to kick with that right foot either. He threw that one out.
Woking knock it out towards this near side with Deitch. And he just tries to play it through Jake Taylor, and Taylor, after a couple of deflections, gets it back to Shade. A lot of energy from Eastleigh's number 10. And that's what happens when you get a goal. The confidence goes up, and then that ball is over the top for McCallum, and his touch doesn't find the feet of his fellow attacker Maguire, and Woking will get it back to Jaskalainen. Now, is he going to want to kick this one with his right foot? He's left it for his left, in fact, and then will hit that up towards Walker. Tries to flick onto Kendall, and another one onto Conte down the left-hand side, but Shade once again. He's predominantly a right forward, but at the moment he's playing centre-back, he's playing central midfield. His tail is really up at the moment. Eastleigh on the far side, trying to knock it around, and eventually it will be cleared out of play. And that will be a throw on halfway the way of Woking.
Lewis Walker's impressed me this afternoon. He's had a few difficult games, but he scored on Saturday, and it seems as though that's really, he's won a lot of flick-ons today, and he's been running to great effect, and hopefully that goal will have settled him down this season.
Right corner of the box, Kendall's able to bring it down in his chest, but he's just bullied off the ball, and now Eastleigh will pick it up in the middle of the park. Knocked out towards this right-hand side with Shade. He's got Maguire for company further up the line, but instead plays it into the middle. That's a nice ball, and Eastleigh come again with Lloyd Humphreys. Taylor, the captain, to his right. All of the play happening on the halfway line, and then Eastleigh do go back towards Francelette, and Marr will have it in the left-back position, and Francelette once more. Eastleigh looking comfortable in possession. Signs of a shot of a side towards the top of the table. McDonnell now hits a low ball out towards the left channel. Marr will bring it at a jogging pace over halfway. McCallum comes short, back to Marr. There's a poor ball by Marr, and now Woking have got a few options to go with, and it's a high ball over towards Andrews, the number 6, coming towards the left corner of the box, and his ball across the face is to absolutely no one, and Warrior was there to clean up for Eastleigh, and that's a chance over for Woking after they had a good 3-4 players over on the break.
Yeah, frustrating that final ball. It was a good opportunity.
Deitch heads the clearance into the air, but only to the feet of Paul McCallum. Maguire picks up the loose pickings, will turn, head up, looking for options. He's got Shade to his right, finds the number 10, one touch, cross into the box. It's flicked towards the edge of the penalty area by a Woking head. Gorman, he's got 2 players he's got to get away from, and there is a bit of a loose ball. A challenge is thrown in. Paul McCallum then hits it towards the edge of the box, and Kelvin Davis has got his head in his hands because the free kick has gone the way of Woking, and a yellow card has been brandished, I think, for Paul McCallum. Yeah,
two players went in. It was heart and mouth really, because Dion Kelly Evans has already had 1 red card this season, a very very difficult challenge. So that was heart and mouth for Woking fans, I would say, but thankfully the referee gave the decision the other way.
Yeah, definitely a situation where you can sort of just breathe a sigh of relief, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he had to go for it, Dion Kelly-Evans, because McCallum was there.
And Gorman, as well as he had done, just to try and get the ball away from a couple of Eastleigh players that were hurrying him and harrying him on the right corner of the box. It didn't quite have the pace that he wanted to. Back to the defender and Paul McCallum. If he sees a loose ball that far out, of course his eyes are going to light up and he's going to be there in a flash.
Yeah, it's but along with a lot of Woking players, I think Dale Gorman's played pretty well this afternoon, but that one, I think he was under a bit of pressure and tried to be creative, and it put Dion Kelly-Evans under a lot of pressure.
Well, Eastleigh by a goal to nil, half an hour gone, but yet another stoppage for an injury. Kelvin Davis, the Eastleigh boss, certainly didn't agree with that decision. Over 300 appearances for Southampton, just the other side of the M27. Had quite the career with the Saints, as well as playing for Luton and Sunderland and Ipswich as well. But 10 years on the south coast. Followed the club joining the Championship, relegated to League One on -10, then went all the way up to the Premier League as they got back-to-back promotions. His first full-time job as a manager, did actually take charge of Southampton when he was a first-team coach in caretaker charge when Mark Hughes was sacked in 2018. Ralph Hasenhuttl was yet to take the permanent position, but Kelvin Davis took charge of Southampton's 3-1 defeat at Tottenham when they were playing at Wembley Stadium. So not exactly the worst game to take charge of if you're going to take off just one.
No, exactly.
He seems to have found his home, signed a new 3-year deal in the summer as that ball forward is dealt with. Humphreys with the outside of his right foot will knock it out towards that far side, but Woking again and a nudge in the back, and they've got themselves a free kick.
Yeah.
And I think the players are going to go forward for this one. They're not going to take that one short, as Messrs Dyke and Winter.
Needless free kick to give away that, really, and puts Eastleigh under pressure. Dion Kelly-Evans waiting to be called on, but my understanding was that if a card had been given, you don't have to wait off for your 45 seconds or whatever it is. But
it's a weird world, the world of officiating in the in any division. Delivery is headed out on the edge of the box. It will be collected by Conte, who will just wriggle away towards this left-hand side. And he's got around a couple of players. He's got Shade and Maguire trying to get his shirt, but Woking still have it in the middle of the pitch now with Gorman. Low ball out towards the right side. They'll try and get it down the right channel. It's a nice ball, and the delivery is going to be high towards the back post. It's flicked back into a dangerous area and then eventually cleared. Only as far as Woking's number 4. Left-footed delivery towards the back post. Header is going to go up and it's going to miss everybody and go out of play. But nice idea.
Yeah, good build-up by Woking, good pressure. Conte is good on the ball. You know, when he gets the ball, he's not afraid if there are 2 or 3 players around him to either take them on or certainly hold his own. And he's settled in well to the Woking side since he came on loan.
32 minutes gone. Live commentary and live coverage of Eastleigh against Woking in the National League on the BBC Sport website and app. BBC Radio Surrey. Jake Taylor to Brindley in the right back position, goes back, and first time Francelet will hook it up towards halfway and hits the shin of Paul McCallum. Nice quick feet from Tyrese Shade, getting away from a couple of challenges. Another a shirt pull, gets the free kick, but Woking will get men back, and you imagine that potentially Eastleigh are going to go long from this one. Francelet coming up to take it.
McCallum just wanders around looking a bit disinterested a lot of the time, doesn't he?
He has sort of a languid style. It's like he doesn't want to be out there, and then he's only interested when the ball is within maybe a sort of a 2-metre radius of him. Brindley with the ball. It's fairly pathetic delivery, I have to say, to absolutely no one. I'm not quite sure what was going through his mind, as he just did it aimlessly down the right channel, and Tyrese Shade certainly letting him know what he thought of that.
There were 3 Woking players there, and there wasn't an Eastleigh player within 20 yards, I don't think.
Deitch in the left back position. Nice touch to get away from Maguire. He's not leaving him alone, and then he'll try and thread it down the left, and there's a slip, and here come Woking with Walker. Oh, and that's a poor effort. He drags his shot from the edge of the box, a couple of yards wide of Joe McDonald's post, who didn't even bother diving. I think maybe he saw his name in the headlines that
I think he didn't really set himself for the shot. I mean, he had to take the shot then if he was going to, and but he was a bit off balance, and in the end it went harmlessly wide of the post.
Good chance there for Woking though. The ball is dropped from the goal kick, and that's a bit of a high foot from Paul McCallum, but the referee's okay with it. Worked out to Shade on this right hand side, comes more central into the middle of the park now with Humphreys, knocks it to the right with Maguire, immediately looking up for Paul McCallum, but feeds it towards the edge of the box now with Shade onto his left foot. He did shape to shoot, but now with Vokins, left corner of the box, back towards Warui. Shade 25 yards from goal, tries to feed it down the line to Vokins, good ball into McCallum, first touch, turns, and that shot goes straight into the arms of Jääskeläinen, who will be very grateful that it didn't go either side of him.
Yeah, good pressure there from Eastleigh, and a lovely turn from McCallum. He just turned on a sixpence really, got the shot in, but went straight at Jääskeläinen.
His body language at the moment is not saying that he's completely comfortable. It's normally sort of bent down on his haunches half the time, as Woking on the right hand side on halfway. They only trail by a goal to nil, and there's still about 10 minutes plus, I'd say maybe 5 extra for the amount of stoppages that we've had so far, and they've certainly had the chances in the first half. Lofted ball towards the edge of the box where Walker not really as close to that as he would have wanted, and then Eastleigh win the loose ball in their own half and out to Maguire on the right, but it's easily gathered by Woking on the left, nudging the back, and they do have themselves a free kick 5 yards in from this near touchline, and pushing the back of Charlie Kendall.
Yeah, and again frustration on the Eastleigh bench, but I think it was a foul. I mean, I think there were 2 players around him, they caught his legs, and
I have to say I think I completely agree with you. I mean, it's he's in a position where he doesn't really have too many options, so you almost buy the foul, you look for the foul, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he's got a clear shove in the back, and it's a fairly easy free kick to give.
Maybe the frustration is with their own player for giving away a free kick in that position.
Yeah, because wherever it is on either side, it's certainly going to be a crossing position. Gorman again, line of players across the face of the box, the left arm goes up, right footed delivery, it's bending, out comes McDonald and plucks it from the sky. Chance over for Woking.
A bit too close to the keeper, that really. It needed to be probably another 5 yards out, and then it might have caused some problems.
Well, he's only been beaten 13 times in 10 games so far this season, got 3 clean sheets to his name. Joe McDonnell, been at the club since 2020, actually went on one of those weird loan spells to Notts County just for the playoffs a couple of seasons ago, where their own keeper got injured and they didn't actually have anyone to choose, so they went for that emergency, I think it was like a 5-day loan, just to have him just for that one playoff leg.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Joe. Yeah, meet your teammates. He's only going to be here for about 4 days.
Yes, we've all seen that occasionally from different players.
Woking have it in possession just on the edge of their own box with a free kick that Jääskeläinen will take. We're into the final 8 minutes of normal time in this first half. In the National League, they trail Eastleigh by a goal to nil after 17 minutes when Tyree Shade found the bottom corner. But Woking just picking their moments. But they almost lose possession in the middle of the park, but the ball is knocked out to Cian Harries. Left-footed ball out towards the left channel to Conte, into the feet of Walker. Nice 1-2. Drives centrally. Kelly Evans knocks it to the right. And here come Woking again. Nice ball poked into the middle of the park now, and Kelly Evans will pick it up again once more. 30 yards from goal, towards the edge of the box. Quick turn by Conte. It's a nice play by Woking, but they are forced back after a loose touch. Gone with the cross, it's deflected high into the air, and the bounce has been kind for Woking. It's going to be driven in towards the 6-yard box, and it's turned into the back of the net. And Lewis Walker was there 3 yards out. It was a lovely pull back, and he's not going to miss from that far out, and Woking have got themselves a deserved equaliser at the Silver Lake. It's Eastleigh 1, Woking 1.
Yeah, great goal. Eastleigh will be kicking themselves. They had so many opportunities to clear that, and they fumbled it, and then but Woking took the most of their opportunity, and it was a smart ball in, and Lewis Walker from about a yard out, jabbed it home, and that's 2 goals from him in the last couple of games, and it's been a frustrating season for him. Getting that first goal, but he'll feel so much better having got a couple now.
And it's really good work as well from Ben Winter. The bounce was kind to him on the right hand side, but he immediately was alert. He turned away from Vokins, drove towards the dead ball line. We came up the line by a couple of yards, found Lewis Walker in acres of space about 3 yards out, and a striker, no matter what form you're in, he's always going to find the back of the net from there.
Yeah, Ben Winter, who actually is a central defender, so he was a long way forward for a central defender.
Him.
Total football.
All square at the Silver Lake, 1-1, Eastleigh and Woking getting themselves back into the game, and they've deserved it as well, as Eastleigh will try and break the deadlock yet again, but Conte will now bring it away. Lovely little turn. Humphreys is not going to leave him alone, although this play happening just inside the Eastleigh half. They're forced back Woking, but in the left back position Conte. The 1-2 with Walker, and eventually Eastleigh will actually get that one back with Maguire, and it's taken off his toes but out of play for an Eastleigh throw on this near side. I think that equaliser has slightly thrown them, the Spitfires, into the final 5 of the first half of normal time. Plenty to be added on as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we've still got about 10 minutes or so in total. Either way, it's a throw to Eastleigh with the man who opened the scoring this evening, Tyrese Shade, into the box towards the head of McCallum. Woking hack it clear, but it goes straight back to Tyrese Shade, who then goes on a run, but goes straight into a wall of white and red, and Conte will try and dink it towards Kendall. He's got to beat Franceletta if he can. Franceletta's always going to win that physical battle. It's almost unfair, as then Eastleigh, a couple of quick passes on the right hand side with Shade on halfway, and they opt to calm things down and go back across their defence with Marr. Interesting battle between Kendall and Franceletta, because you feel like Kendall's got the pace, but Franceletta, if he can get a yard across him, then that race is already won.
Very hard to get around him.
Maguire, who's floated over towards the left-hand side. Vokins receives the ball back, does Maguire, the Scot. Goes for the little Cruyff turn, sits a player down, sets up Vokins, ball into the box. Marr, for some reason there, and the first time volley from Taylor from the edge of the box. The ironic cheers is because it's gone straight into the Woking fans, and that's about 10 yards wide, but nice play from Maguire, good quick feet. Vokins with the ball into the box, and for some reason Niall Marr, he saw Ben Winter have a go down the right hand side getting forward and thought he was going to have a try from the edge of the 6-yard box, but wasn't able to get the connection. Scores remain 1-1.
In terms of the game, that equaliser is a big plus to keep the game, because Eastleigh had started so well at home, and you could think, well, this could really get away from Woking, but no, they really come back into it well and really set up. It stays like this to half time, set up the second half in a wonderful way.
Couple of passes either end of the pitch, but it works back to Jaskalainen, and now Woking will come again on that right hand side. Moss. Cardinals just bringing up towards halfway. They'll work it down the right channel yet again, and they'll try for the ball in behind for Kendall, and that's not going to go over the head of an Eastleigh defender as they deal with it and hack it over towards this near side. But it's be collected by Harries, and right idea trying to find Conte, who does give him the thumbs up, but maybe a situation where he just needed to bring it down on the deck and look for his options. Yeah,
Kean Harris' head dropped when he did that, and he sort of, that wasn't what I meant to do. So
2.5 minutes until half time. McDonnell hits it into the night sky. McCallum with a little shove to let it bounce, and then that clearance is sliced from Woking, and Conte does well, and the bounce has again been nice for Walker, who's then completely shoved to the floor by Niall Marr, who deservedly goes into the book. Walker had poked it past him, and Marr just came across with the right shoulder, and although Lewis Walker potentially a bit off balance when that challenge came in, it was probably one of the easiest yellow cards that Richie Watkins is ever going to have to give.
My words exactly. I thought if anyone in the ground thinks that shouldn't be a yellow card, they don't understand anything really. That was
word of the day, cynical.
A professional foul, as they say.
Absolutely. Nothing but wanting to just stop a potential attack by however means possible. But you're right, as you said earlier, it's been a decent game, and Woking have never looked out of it.
No, and they've taken their time. They've played the ball to feet. It hasn't been, it's been much better, quicker passing between the Woking players in this half than we've seen in last
Dale
few games.
Gorman with the delivery towards the back post. It will fall to the deck, and Wariu with a big touch, try and drive down the left hand side, and he does have a bit of pace. The former Brentford man cuts inside, He's got away from a couple of challenges. This is a nice run, and although he hasn't made it into the Woking half, he's got it in space on the right hand side now with Shade. Maguire making the overlapping run. Shade, quick chop in field. Now in the middle of the pitch is Warrior, and he will knock it out towards the left hand side with Ma, who's just gone into the book for that cynical challenge. Woking's further up the line, collects it, but Woking do well to force the ball back towards halfway, where Warrior will try and go on a marauding run himself down the left hand side, and again he's forced to check back. Woking can reset as Eastleigh will try and build from the back once more. Brindley in a centre back position, knocks it out to Taylor on this right hand side in front of Michael Doyle on this near touch line. Brindley, he will turn. Maguire on halfway, tries to bend it down the right side in search of Tyree Shade. Across comes Deitch, who does really well just to muscle him off the ball and just chaperone that ball out of play for a goal kick, as we're going to have 7 minutes of additional time in the first half.
Getting our money's worth tonight.
Absolutely. Who needs the League Cup, or I don't even know if it's Champions League night tonight, but either way, you're certainly getting your money's worth at the Silver Lake. Elsewhere, Barnet lead Aldershot by a goal to nil. Altrincham and Dagenham and Redbridge is all square at 1-1. Gateshead 2, Boston United 0. Oldham still lead Forest Green by a goal to nil. York have taken the lead away at Solihull. Otherwise, the games this evening remain goalless. It is going to be a goal kick, which is hit fairly central. Kendall nowhere near that, as Eastleigh hit it straight back the way that it came, and the header goes all the way back to Will Jaskalainen. Quick roll out towards the right hand side now as Woking, can they potentially put themselves into the lead? We've got 7 additional minutes. Ambitious ball down the right hand side in search of Kendall, but Eastleigh do well just to usher that one out of play.
Looking at the Woking side, I think Jamie Andrews, who has played out wide on a few games, but he seems a lot more comfortable in that central midfield position. He's been good tonight. He's linked up play well. Dion Kelly Evans has had a good half, and in general the Woking midfield has been a lot more coherent than it has in some of the games.
That's really pleasing to see as well, especially with this being such a difficult place to come, is Deitch with a header up towards halfway, and Lewis Walker drives down the left hand side, and he's still going towards the left side of the penalty area, and Brindley and Humphreys do well to take it off him. Bit of frustration there for Lewis Walker. He might be pleased that he's already found the back of the net tonight, but maybe just found himself running down a bit of a cul-de-sac on that occasion.
But he's run it with a lot more purpose tonight again than he has in other games. When he's got the ball, he's really looked to get on the front foot, as well as Charlie Kendall is always the same. So from Woking perspective, that's been very pleasing.
2.5 of the additional 7 played. 1-1 at the Silver Lake as the ball goes out of play for another throw on this near side. Goes the way of Woking. It's been certainly a positive performance from the visitors this evening, doing well, especially considering that Eastleigh taken the lead after just about 17.5 minutes, and then from there threatened to get a second quickly through McCallum. Woking have done well just to hold them at arm's length, stay in the game and get that deserved equaliser.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the firepower that Eastleigh have, not just McCallum but with Shade, Maguire, and also the long throws, they've done very well to hold them.
Woking have it with Ben Winter, who set up that goal on halfway now into the middle to Deitch. Gets the ball back, does Winter. A few paces forward, then out towards that right hand side as Woking try and work it forward. Walker knocks it back into the path of Winter. Eastleigh just holding them at arm's length, but Walker is then bundled to the floor and the flag goes up. Potentially an offside there, because that certainly didn't look like a foul, but either way it's gone the way of the hosts, and with about 3 or 4 minutes left of additional time at the end of this half, it remains 1-1.
Winter's done well for Woking. He hasn't had many starts this season. I think it might be a second, but he's no nonsense. He looks fairly unruffled there, and just does what he's meant to do. And he's had a solid half.
Signing from Barnet, Ben Winter, and Eastleigh with Paul McCallum just sat on the ground, arms aloft, in search of something from the referee. He has been given it, and now Eastleigh have got themselves a free kick. It's about 30 yards from goal, left of centre, in line with the corner of the penalty area. And from seemingly out of nothing, Eastleigh have got themselves a free kick in a fairly dangerous position, considering the number 9 that they can aim for every single time.
Yeah, it is. It can be whipped in. It's going to be a right-footed. Is that Maguire right-footed free kick? So it'll be swinging in.
Here comes the delivery. It's long from Maguire, and it bounces wide of Will Jääskeläinen's left post. Sort of almost looked like an effort on goal, to be honest, because it was nowhere near an Eastleigh head, and I think they were fairly hacked off, I would say, that Chris Maguire hasn't actually put that in a dangerous area for them.
We sort of built that up, really, didn't we? We built that up as being a really dangerous moment, and in the end it was the biggest damp squib you could imagine. Yeah,
we were ready for it, certainly some sort of goal-mouth action, and then it just drops harmlessly wide, and danger over, really, with we're into the final 90 seconds of additional time. 1-1, live on the BBC Sport website and app, BBC Radio Surrey. Throw in Woking on that far side. They go back down the line in towards their own half with Deitch, now Harries, left of the centre circle. Now he'll drive forward past McCallum. He's going forward a few yards. McCallum leaves a late challenge, but does win the ball, and then gets the ball back off the defender that he knocked the ball to in the first place. Nice knock over the top towards Maguire, and across comes Dion Kelly-Evans. He's gone straight through Maguire, who, to give him credit, has got straight back to his feet. That's a great challenge.
It was a great challenge. I don't think he went straight through him. I think the ball was in front of him. He did go straight through the ball, but it had the effect of bringing Maguire down as well. So, but we've got a final long throw here from Paul McCallum to negotiate.
Final 25 seconds. This will surely be the final action of the half. Paul McCallum just drying off the ball in his blue shirt, lines up the throw. Another looping delivery. It's dangerous, and it will be knocked towards the edge of the box. Woking able to get that one clear. Humphreys, and it's been knocked past him, but he does well to regather himself and knocked to the floor by Andrews. Eastleigh will try and come again. I don't think they're going to have time. They're not. Richie Watkins puts his whistle to his lips and brings to an end a fairly pulsating half of football in the National League. Eastleigh taking the lead after 17 minutes through Tyree Shade. A lovely placed finish from the left corner of the box into the bottom left-hand corner. But Woking stayed in the game. Paul McCallum threatened to double the lead for the hosts, but Woking, a bit of a luck of judgment, but a fortuitous bounce, and Ben Winter was able to get down the right-hand side, run up the line and find Lewis Walker from about 3 yards out, who's able to poke it past Joe McDonnell into an empty net to bring Woking back on level terms. They've certainly looked in the game, and they have a equaliser, which they certainly deserve. We'll be back in around 10 minutes or so, but for now, at half-time in the National League, it's Eastleigh 1, Woking 1.
Here's how they all stand at half time. AFC File 0, Tamworth 0, Aldershot Town 0, Barnet 1, Aldershot 1, Dagenham Redbridge 1, Braintree 0, Halifax Town 0, Gateshead 2, Boston United 0, Hartlepool 0, Rochdale 1, Maidenhead 1, Ebbsfleet United 0, Oldham 1, Forest Green 0, Solihull 0, York City 1, Sutton 0, Yeovil 0, and Willstone 0, Southend 0.
got Shazam. You've not got Shazam. What is it? Oh, you've got it. You might be Test Championship. What's this original?
Out for the second half. The ball can move a bit higher.
Welcome back to the Silver Lake, where it is currently all square in the National League. Eastleigh 1, Woking 1. Tyree Shade opening the scoring for the Spitfires after just 17 minutes with a cool finish from the edge of the box to get his first goal since joining from Solihull. But Woking, they were plucky and they kept themselves in the game and kept Eastleigh at arm's length when it came to getting a second goal, with Lewis Walker finally finding the back of the net from about 3 yards out after really good work from Ben Winter to take the ball down the right hand side. And it's going to be Eastleigh who will get us back underway in the second half, shooting from right to left. No changes as far as I can see that have been made at half time. For Eastleigh, it's Joe McDonnell in goal, Jake Vokins, Francelette, Marr and Brinley across the back four, Humphreys, Taylor and Wariu in the middle, with Maguire and Tyree Shade either side of Paul McCallum. For Woking, Will Yaskalainen, Dan Moss, Cian Harries, Max Deitch, Ben Winter and Raheem Conte, with Dale Gorman, Jamie Andrews, Dion Kelly-Evans and Charlie Kendall alongside Lewis Walker up top, as we are back underway at the Silver Lake in the National League. And Eastleigh, through Joe McDonnell, who is shooting from right to left, will hit it high into the air. It's collected on the deck by Wariu, and on this near side Humphreys will start to drive down the left hand side, and it's well dealt with by Dan Moss, who then clears it up towards halfway, and from the nice little layoff there by Lewis Walker. But unfortunately for Woking, Francelette just quickly to get it away from him, and it'll be the number 2 Richard Brindley for Eastleigh, who will just stop with the ball just shy of the centre circle and receive it once more. Bring back Ian Nicholson. Woking, they've done really well so far in this game, and they'll be hoping that they can get themselves into the lead.
Yeah, certainly. They'll. I think they'll keep positive, which is what they were in the first half, and got a couple of substitutes who could come on and make a bit of a difference as well in Leahy and Ward, if Kendall begins to tire, who played the full game just 2 days ago.
Yeah, we're speaking in the first half. Matt Ward, 21. Already got a couple of goal involvements so far. Very bright prospect as Marr shrugs off the challenge of Kendall and then tries to get it through to McCallum down the left side of the penalty area, and he will try and quite a sliding tackle on the edge of the box, but Woking do well themselves to get it up towards halfway. Walker, he's a bit of a cry from him, but no foul. Eastleigh have it again. Maguire just dinks it over towards the left-hand side to Warrior, who then turns and plays it back into the middle with Humphreys and Taylor exchanging passes. And now Brindley's turn to drive forward, right of centre towards the right corner of the box. Out towards that far side, first time cross, it's got a lot of pace on it. It's going to come to Vokins on this near side, into the box to Maguire, and then after a bit of a deflection, possible handball, Woking get it clear up towards halfway, where it's going to be Lewis, Walker or Kendall who just wrestled to the floor, and for Woking the pressure is just off after Eastleigh were threatening.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times Eastleigh came forward at real pace and with intent without really creating any chances, but so that, as you say, that free kick now lifts the pressure. Ball back with Dice to Windsor.
Gorman on halfway, quick ball infield along the halfway line now to Kelly Evans, behind him to his left, and then they work it over towards that left hand side. Woking still have it in possession. They're shooting from left to right towards their fans in this half. Deflection, and then at the second attempt they get it clear, but it's picked up by Warrior in the middle. Nutmegs his man Andrews, but that goes fortunously to Conte on the left hand side. Woking try and lift it down the left channel, but Charlie Kendall once again losing out on that battle with Francelette. Now Eastleigh in the left centre back position with Marr. On this near side is Vokins, knocks it into the middle of the pitch with Humphreys, who'll turn and just spread it across the defence to Brindley, and Francelette under a little bit of pressure out towards this left hand side with Marr, who did pick up a booking in the first half. But it's nice pressing immediately in the second 45 from Woking. Already they are pushing up on Eastleigh as they try and bring it forward. Brindley stops on the ball, right of the centre circle. Now they come again with Maguire, turns inside, quick feet, and does well with the outside of his right foot to poke it towards Warrior on this near channel. Down the line to Vokins, and he takes it away from Moss, left footed cross into the head of McCallum, but it goes over the number 9, and Woking will try and get it up towards halfway, but it's a good recovery from Humphreys, and with a sliding challenge gets it out wide to Warrior again. Marr picks it up on halfway, left of centre to Brindley, and the number 2 into Taylor. Little swivel on towards that right hand side where Shade, again quick feet, number 10, but he goes back into his own half, and Brindley and Taylor. Apologies there. If we have now straight back. Warrior now picks it up for Eastleigh inside the Woking half, out towards the left hand side to Vokins, who tries to turn away from Moss, who puts in a good challenge, and it goes out of play, and it actually goes off an Eastleigh man last and goes out of play for a Woking throw.
Good work there by Dan Moss for Woking against Jake Vokins. Vokins just recently had a great cross he managed to put in, just got behind the defence and zipped across in, but it was well defended by Woking.
Just 5 minutes gone of the second half, 6 in fact, and it's still 1-1 between Eastleigh and Woking in the National League. Woking with the throw, short up the line, flicked on by Moss, and then they attempt to get it even further towards Kendall, but it's hit high into the night sky and will drop towards McCallum. Push in the back, and Woking on halfway will have themselves a free kick.
Yeah, I think it really came through on Charlie Kendall there, possibly caught just the back of his heel. So again, a dangerous, an opportunity for Woking here with a free kick to put pressure on Eastleigh.
Well, they've got themselves right of centre, just about 10 yards inside the Eastleigh half. Gorman just placing it where he wants it. And there's a line of Eastleigh players about 25 yards out across the face of the box. Chance for Woking to threaten early on in the second half. It's going to be a long diagonal delivery and it'll go towards the edge of the box, and a shot might come in. It's deflected, hits a couple of bodies, and eventually Eastleigh get it out and up towards halfway, but pinball in the Eastleigh penalty area. Woking not able to capitalise. It was a shot on goal left of centre that only went a few yards before hitting a Spitfire's body. But Woking will come again down the left hand side into the middle of the park now with Walker, and that ball has gone behind him, and now it's Eastleigh's turn to threaten and drive forward with Shade and Maguire, who exchange neat passes. Humphreys and Taylor on halfway. Brindley in support, about 10 yards inside the Woking half, back towards Humphreys on halfway, and under a bit of pressure back into the Eastleigh half with Francelette, and that's a flat ball, and it's going to go all the way through to Jaskalainen in the Woking goal.
Yeah, Woking well organised there, because it was a loose ball that gave possession to Eastleigh, but they reorganised themselves really quickly and then just snuffed out that pressure.
Well, Gorman's got himself in a bit of space on this near side, but Wario is quickly to press and actually forces Gorman into a poor ball into the heart of the Eastleigh half, and unfortunately it's gone straight to an Eastleigh player from Woking's perspective. And they'll try and bring it forward once more with Shade with that electric feet, but he only gets up to halfway before having to turn. And it's good harrying there from Conte to force Shade back after he is starting just to get a few yards up that left hand side. Marr in the left centre back position. Francelette spreads out towards that right hand side. Nisi will come again through Brindley up to Shade. It's a nice 1-2 with Taylor, feeds it down the right hand side across the face of goal, and someone at the back post. It's not been directed goalwards. Big chance there for Eastleigh, and I think it's Jake Vokins who's found himself in a bit of a heap by the back post, and he just got the connection all wrong.
Yeah, great opportunity there for Eastleigh, and they did well. I mean, the ball was fired in, but nobody could get that final touch, and Woking very relieved to bring that ball away.
Jake Vokins so close to getting his second goal of the season. He hit it with the inside of his left foot and was just unable to direct it towards goal. In fact, it went much further away from goal than towards it. But it was a lovely 1-2 with Taylor and Shade down the right hand side as Eastleigh will try and come again. That clearance goes again high but not very far. Picked up by Humphreys out of the sky, and his ball is knocked out to the right, and Woking are quick as a flash onto it as they will try and break themselves over on that left hand side, but again forced back to Harries and into the middle now with Kelly Evans. And they'll try and go over to this right hand side now. It's got Moss ahead, but instead they go far more central with Kelly Evans back across the middle to Ben Winter. It's encouraging so far. Left-footed diagonal ball in search of the head of Walker. Gets it down the right-hand side now with Moss. He's got quite a bit of space ahead of Vokins, but he goes back. Gorman with the first time delivery from the cutback, and it's going to bounce through the 6-yard box. Drilled at goal and over the bar. And from the edge of the penalty area, a fierce left-footed drive from Andrews, and that's only gone about a yard or two over the bar.
Yeah, great opportunity for Woking. Andrews has his head in his hands, and he realises that was so close but so far, and but good pressure from Woking, good build up down the right between Moss and Gorman, whip ball in, and it fell to Andrews, whose shot cleared the goal.
Big chance for Woking, and just inches away from taking the lead, but as it stands it's 1-1 between the two sides. But Woking have it on halfway. Walker shows for it, knocks it out to the left nicely. And they try and feed it up the left hand side for Kendall, and it's good work by the number 9 because they've won themselves a corner deep in enemy territory.
Yeah, Eastleigh fans all hoping there that was a foul, but referee judged there was no contact, so a corner to Woking, and a bit of pressure now. Early pressure from Eastleigh, now pressure from Woking.
Well, they're in fine voice. Diagonally on the opposite side of the pitch was just to our right. Now Woking starting to turn the screw. They've just come close through Andrews, and with 57 minutes gone at the Silver Lake, can they put themselves into the lead? They've gone short. Conte, left corner of the box, sets it up. That's a fierce ball towards the back, sticking it in! Woking have taken the lead. Wonderful delivery towards the back post. And despite trailing by a goal to nil in the first half, they've come from behind. And it's Eastleigh 1, Woking 2.
Yeah, and I'm trying to work out who got the final touch there, but it was a well-worked move. Dare I say, possibly another training ground move, but certainly it was a short one played back. Gorman whipped it in right by the far post. It's just that final touch to get the goal. Ben Winter, we're understanding, scored. So well done, Ben Winter, on an assist and a goal.
Ben Winter at the back post with a crucial goal. He set up the equaliser. Now he's got himself on the score sheet with his first goal of the season. And I have to say, great 1-2 from the corner, set it up for a brilliant delivery, fierce towards the back post, and Winter right on the money to just knock it in off whatever body part was able to be honest.
Yeah, and I don't know whether that took Eastleigh a bit by surprise. I don't know, Woking don't tend to do many short corners, or when they do, they're often haven't really come off this season, but that one worked a treat.
Woking about to deal the first blow to Eastleigh's impeccable home record so far this season, but the Spitfires just knocking it around the edge of the box and force Spokins out wide towards the left hand side. Delivery not to anyone in a blue shirt, but the clearance finds its way back towards the edge of the box, and Humphreys ball to his left. Despite the challenge going on a player, the game goes on. It's a Woking man down. They try and get it down the left hand side, but Brindley comes across and clears that as Andrews then gets back to his feet.
Limps a little bit, but
59 minutes gone at the Silver Lake. Live commentary on the BBC Sport website and app. Woking lead by 2-1. They've come from behind. Eastleigh had taken the lead after 17 minutes through Tyrese Shea, but goals from Walker and from Winter have put the Cardinals in such a strong position and looking like they could potentially be getting their second away win of the season and blotting Eastleigh's home record copybook. All you can hear at the moment is the Woking fans. They're making great noise.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, they're underneath a big stand, which always helps, doesn't it? Because it channels the noise. But those 200 Woking fans seem to have swelled to about 300, 400 now. So, and certainly, as you say, making a lot of noise.
They are certainly loving it as Woking get it in possession on the right hand side. Lovely little poke out towards this near side. They'll try and then feed it through to Kendall. The flag stays down. He will turn inside the box. Shaped onto his left foot. He allowed Vokins to come back to Gorman towards the back post. It's high and over the bar. Lovely set up there by Gorman. Didn't quite get the delivery. Didn't quite get the finish that they wanted, Woking, but they're not just trying to hold on to the lead, they're looking at extending it.
No, Conte there with the header, and I think they know that being on the front foot means if they just sit back against Eastleigh, they will most likely concede, so they're looking to keep on the front foot.
Well, they've got half an hour to hold out if they want to take a precious 3 points. But they have really come out of the traps in the second half. And Eastleigh, yes, they had a bit of spell of pressure at the beginning, in the first few minutes of the second 45, but since then Woking have really come into the half really strong, and they've asked questions of Eastleigh, and at the moment Eastleigh haven't had an answer to them, as Joe McDonnell is now sat on the ground, and that is not one Kelvin Davis is going to want to see. It potentially something to do with his right leg. They do have Tommy Scott on the bench, the 24-year-old former Southampton under 23. Only made 2 appearances last season, including a 4-4 draw with Boreham Wood, but I think aside from the final 15 minutes of a pre-season friendly against Southampton in which he conceded a couple of goals, although when you're up against Premier League players and they're hitting them firmly into the bottom corner. As a player that doesn't really get too many appearances in the National League, that's asking a bit much, but not one Tommy Scott that has seen much match action recently. But it might be that he's called upon in the second half with Joe McDonnell currently sat on the floor.
Yeah, I've seen these situations before. It may be that, or it may be both sets of players getting instructions from their managers. I saw Kelvin Davis talking to Jake Taylor, giving instructions, and now he's got the whole team together, and Michael Doyle doing the same with all his players. Only Max Dyche and Will Jääskeläinen haven't gone over to take in some liquid and listen to their manager. It looks like a substitution.
Yeah, it's going to be Wes McDonnell that's coming on for Lloyd Humphreys. An attacking change made by Kelvin Davis, throwing on another forward. They've got a game that they need to chase, do Eastleigh. And when they've had the opportunity to, with a win today, resulting potentially with them sitting top of the National League, they've got 3 points to go and fight for.
Keeper seems fine, McDonald seems fine.
Maybe, as you were saying, one of those stoppages, just a tactical. I need you to come over. I've done. I know 15 minutes. I already chatted to you, but I need another half-time team talk here.
And as I'm a goalkeeper, I can't be made to leave the pitch. That's cynical, isn't it? I'm being cynical. Am I being cynical?
Hey, they do it in all divisions. I remember Southampton themselves doing it. It was around the 65-minute mark. Player would go down and he'd be absolutely fine a moment later, but it just allowed Russell Martin to get a few instructions on. But Eastleigh have a game to chase, and they do now with Vokins down the left-hand side, a few yards into the Woking half. He and Maguire exchange passes, but Woking keeping their shape well and forcing Eastleigh back with Marr deep in his own half. Brindley now picks it up on the right hand side. Low ball and a quick flip by Maguire around the corner in search of shade. Will he keep that in play? He does not, says the linesman as the flag goes up. And danger over for Woking. 64 minutes gone at the Silver Lake. They lead 2-1.
And a good for that lead, I would suggest. Given that Andrews has had a great chance, Conte had a header as well. This second half, Woking have come out on the front foot, and they've also had to withstand a bit of pressure, but they have come out on the front foot and had a few chances. Well,
I know Jake Vokins really should have put the Spitfires ahead. I'm not quite sure how he didn't direct his shot goalwards, but aside from that, Woking, they've looked sharp, they've looked good in the second half. They've put pressure on Eastleigh and they've made it count when they've had the opportunities. But Eastleigh themselves do now have themselves a throw on that far side, in line with the edge of the box. Paul McCallum once again drying the ball. It's going to be another one launched into the penalty area. Just waiting for this one to be taken. Everyone back for Woking in and around that box. Here comes that ball and it's high and it's going to drop about 6 yards out. Can it be poked towards the edge of the box? Vokins there with his right foot. Ball still in play. Taylor dinks it into the mixer. It's still not going to drop for a player except Woking, and the offside flag will go up. And just for a moment, heart in mouth moment.
Defended well there, Woking, because as you say, those long throws cause havoc, don't they? And for probably 20-25 seconds the ball's bobbling around, there's all sorts of things happening, and Woking in the end, heart in the mouth, but and were able to clear.
I have to say though, from the set pieces that Eastleigh have had and the long throws, Woking have dealt with them fairly well throughout the entire match.
They have, and they've got a bit of experience at the back with Harris and Winter both having been around for quite a while, and they've handled it well.
Jääskeläinen, left-footed kick that's going straight on the head of Marr. Nice back heel from Paul McCallum, but Maguire has wrestled off the ball and manages to leave his right foot in, and Michael Doyle just slowing things down on this near touchline. It'll be Ben Winter to take this for Woking on this near side. Manages to gain a few yards and get it down the right. Lewis Walker tries to knock it over the top of Marr, and little tussle going on between the two, but it will go the way of Eastleigh, that throw down by the corner flag.
Yeah, free kick could have gone either way there probably, but in the end it was left to, the linesman just left it to go for the throw.
Let it fizzle out on its own accord. Paul McCallum gets the flick on, but it comes back to a man in a Woking shirt and then into possession of Maguire. Ball forward, a bit of head tennis going on in the middle of the pitch. Woking send it forward to the chest of Walker. Nice little knock to Moss on this right hand side, and then Gorman tries to float it in behind the Eastleigh defence, and Kendall has got in behind towards the byline, and that cross is closed down by Marr and goes straight into the arms of McDonald. But really nice idea from Woking, and Kendall had really got past his man as Woking get hold of the loose ball in the middle of the Silver Lake pitch, out towards this right hand side with Moss. Takes a touch in the field and then knocks it back to Winter. Gorman on this right side. That's going to go under the foot of Ben Winter, and Eastleigh have got themselves a story 10 yards inside the Woking half on this near side. And we've got another stoppage. This time Francelette has gone down. I tell you what, if we manage to finish this game before Wednesday, then we'll have done well.
That won't be a tactical one, because they had one of those just about 5 minutes ago, so it looks like he has just sort of picked up a painful ankle knock. Yeah, he's certainly grimacing as he's taking a few trudging steps towards halfway. Richie Watkins, the referee, just checking that Ludwig Francelette is okay. But when play resumes, it's going to be Eastleigh with a throw midway inside the Woking half on this near side. Vokins with the ball. Maguire short, back to Vokins. Kelly Evans was quick to press, but Vokins with a nice little run, mazy run, little spin, and he's tugged back, and it's going to be a free kick to Eastleigh just by the left corner of the box. Yep, and referee was right there, so I'm sure he got that right. He let it go forward a little bit, see if there was advantage, and then no, called it back, and this is a dangerous position for a free kick for Eastleigh. Well, it was a nice spin by Vokins, and you just thought how he kept the ball after getting it around 3 or 4 players and then pulled up, but it's going to be him and Maguire over this 2-man wall for Woking. Will it be the right foot of Maguire or the left foot of Vokins? It will be Maguire, and it's going to go into a dangerous area about 6 yards out. Eastleigh will try and keep this move alive. It bobbles around, and then fortunately for Woking, they're able to break, and this is a really nice move as they come towards the Eastleigh defence. There's men back for Eastleigh. There's only 4 players forward for Woking. Conte cuts inside and plays it back, and that allows Eastleigh to regroup, and it no longer becomes a counter-attack. Winter, Gorman in the right back position, goes for a diagonal ball, and it's going to be fairly optimistic if it was going to find the foot of Walker. And Conte, he'd made great gains down that left hand side, but just that cutback allowed everyone for Eastleigh to get back and regroup. Yeah, I mean, obviously Woking not wanting to do anything silly, but it would have been nice to see Conte really have a go at the defenders at that point. Vokins gets the ball out from Joe McDonald, who's now all right after that tactical injury. McDonald, who's come on in place of Lloyd Humphreys, and Warrior spreads it out towards that far side on halfway. Eastleigh in search of an equaliser. Nice little ball infield round the corner, and there was a foul in the build-up there, and it's going to be another foul that's gone the way of Eastleigh, and they have themselves an opportunity to whip the ball into the box, albeit this is from about 10 yards inside the Woking half, so if it's going to be a delivery, it's going to come from deep. Yeah, be a little bit easier to defend. Like,
288 away supporters. Thank you all for your support tonight.
Final 20 minutes at the Silver Lake. Woking with a precious 2-1 lead as Vokins and Maguire go over to hands in front of the mouths as they decide exactly what's going to go on here. Line of players across the face of the box, a lot of clustered around the D. Arm goes up from Maguire, and it's going to be his delivery, and that is quite poor, and it just bounces and headed out, but only as far as Warrior, 40 yards from goal. His clearance is charged down, and Lewis Walker is not able to get the touch that he wanted out towards that left hand side, otherwise it would have been a 2-on-2 situation.
Yeah, poor delivery there from Eastleigh.
But they do come again, the Spitfires, with Vokins on this left hand side. Short ball to McDonald, who hasn't really had much of the ball since coming on. Francelette, another player who's been injured, and he's been a loose touch. Kendall now running towards the edge of the box, fires it, goes straight at McDonald. Latched onto that loose touch by Francelette, drove to the edge of the box, little step over, then with his left foot wasn't able to find it past the Spitfires keeper. Another big chance for Woking. And Eastleigh, having won a foul in the middle of the park, take it quickly down the right hand side. Here comes Tyree Shade. Good defending there by Conte, and he might set up Kendall again, who's running at the Eastleigh defence, but he has no one in support except behind him with Conte. And Jamie Andrews will recycle possession, and Woking will build from the back once again. Winter halfway inside his own half on this near channel now with Moss on halfway back to Winter. Woking have really grown into this game. Even they deserve their lead, but at the moment they really look like they could be adding to their tally. Winter with the first time ball up into the air towards the head of Walker. Marr wins that aerial duel, but about 30 yards out, it's picked up by Andrews. Nice ball out towards that left hand side. Can Conte keep it in? He can. Up against Brindley, lines up the fullback, cuts in on his right foot, and from the edge of the box finds Andrews, receives it back left corner of the box out towards that left hand side as Eastleigh get men back. Conte again towards the left channel as they look for a crossing opportunity. Andrews as they play it in triangles, and Eastleigh trying to force them back. Walker has come short, and it's been picked up from the edge of the box. It's low, straight at the goalkeeper, who bowls it out towards McDonald on this left hand side. He's got a bit of space to work with down the left channel. Men rushing back for Woking, but he drives towards the edge of the penalty area, left side, cuts in on his right foot. Will he go for the shot? He cuts back onto his left foot. There's Vokins, first time ball, loft towards the back post, and it's going to go out of play for a goal kick. Danger over for Woking.
Yeah, bit of danger there. Woking were attacking in numbers, and when that broke down, they were herring back. I think there are a few tired bodies out there. Conte looks a little, he's down on his haunches. Dan Moss is on his haunches, but he'll keep going. But is that Yaskil? Oh no, I think Paul McCallum. That's an Eastleigh player down in the 6-yard box.
I think it might be Paul McCallum, who's not particularly happy. He did throw himself at trying to get a header, and this game has yet another stoppage, but Kelvin Davis will be concerned for his number 9, his top scorer with 7 goals so far this season. If ECR are going to get back into the game, they'll certainly need him available, as we've got around about 16 minutes plus what is ever added at the end, and at this rate it wouldn't surprise me if we had another couple of hours.
Yeah, it's fatigue will be a little bit, because play games, Tuesday night games, they all played on Saturday. Woking in particular, I'm not sure where Eastleigh were, but Woking were up in Fylde, so that was a very long journey back.
Well, Eastleigh were hosting Rochdale on Saturday with a 4-2 win, right. So they've not had to travel at all, whereas Woking, you can tell there is that tiredness in their legs, especially when they try and break forward, and then they do have to cut back because they don't quite have the energy to take on their man.
No, exactly. And I think Michael Doyle did bring the changes, brought in Dion Kelly Evans, who's performed, I think, really well. Ben Winter's performed really well. So and then Lewis Walker starting with, and he's been great as well. So those fresh legs have counted, and there's a few more to bring on from the bench if and when needed.
Well, Paul McCallum is still receiving treatment. He's now off the pitch just to the left of the goal, away to our left-hand side, where he ends the final 15 minutes of normal time. I think Eastleigh are going to have to make a substitution, and it's going to be Lee Hodson, the number 4-2, who's getting ready to come on. And I think that is Paul McCallum's race run.
Now that will be worrying for the Eastleigh management and the Eastleigh fans, because he's been such a talisman last season, and so far this year.
And he's such a focal point for them, even in defending set pieces. The Eastleigh are currently down to 10 as we await this substitution. Paul McCallum just trudging round the edge of the pitch as Gorman with a little cut back, and Winter will pick it up in the right back position. Eastleigh not throwing too many men forward now that they are a man down. Hodson getting prepared to come on. Harries, that's a really good ball. That is just gone through the middle of the Eastleigh midfield, but Woking happy to keep possession on that far side with Conte, just shy of halfway into Andrews, turns away from his man, little skip to his left hand side, and here come Woking, ball down the left, and that's gone high over the bar. Was it a cross? Was it a shot? Either way, it wasn't very pretty.
No, ambitious there from Charlie Kendall, but Good play by Woking though, playing it to feet, not panicking. And that's Paul McCallum's off.
Yeah, Paul McCallum's day is over. Hodson coming on in his place, the 32-year-old, predominantly a left back. It looks like he might be playing a bit in a holding midfield role as Kelvin Davis rings the changes and possible change of shape. Vokins for Eastleigh, up to McDonald on that left-hand side. Ball nicked off his toes, but it will be an Eastleigh throw on halfway. Just over 13 minutes plus additional time for Woking to hold on to what would be a big 3 points. Francellet. Ball into the middle, it's a flat one, and he did well actually to guide it away from the prying eyes of a few Woking midfielders. Maher into the middle now to Warrior, who's had quite an energetic game, and he turns and plays a diagonal ball in search of Vokins. The bounce is not kind to him, he's not able to control, and that'll be a throw to Woking down by the corner flag away to our left. Woking lead by 2-1. Live on the BBC Sport website and at BBC Radio Surrey. Get reaction after the game as well from Michael Doyle. Very happy Michael Doyle if it ends this way for his side, especially coming from behind. Vokins midway inside the Woking half. Driven ball towards the edge of the box, and Conte just had to be careful. Shade was right behind him and he worked it back to his keeper, and the clearance only goes onto the chest of Brindley. 10 yards inside the Woking half as Eastleigh try and form an attack on that far side. Hodson, his first foray is to go backwards, and then Warrior plays it straight to the feet of a Woking player, and then down the left hand side here they come, up against Francellet. Players over in the middle if they want them, but it's well dealt with by Eastleigh, who regain possession. Woking, you can just tell there is that little bit of fatigue as Joe McDonald with playing with fire there. That ball was only maybe about half a yard from the foot of Kendall. Wouldn't have been a shooting opportunity for him, but certainly one that would have put them in a whole lot of bother as Hodson picks it up in the centre circle and guides the ball out towards that right channel. Brindley coming forward for the Spitfires. They're searching for an equaliser, but Woking doing well, holding their shape. Across the middle of the half to Vokins. Works out to McDonald. One of the early substitutions in the second half. Cuts back onto his right foot. He doesn't really have a lot to aim for. Drives towards the byline. Moss with the challenge and then plays it into the box. Maguire sets it up towards the left corner of the box now with Vokins. Floated towards the front post. Header over the keeper and into the back of the net. And Eastleigh have got themselves an equaliser with just over 10 minutes to go. A lovely deft header at the front post past Will Jaskalainen, and it's Eastleigh 2, Woking 2.
Yeah, Eastleigh probing there and the ball in. A very clever header, really, back header. Deceived the defence, deceived Jaskalainen and just crept in at the far post. So coming up to 80 minutes and still a lot to play for in this game.
And Woking are going to make a change themselves. Tom Leahy will be coming on. I didn't quite catch the number of who was coming off.
I think it's Charlie Kendall who played did a lot of running on his own on Saturday. Is it Charlie Kendall coming off? Oh no, Lewis Walker.
Well, he's already got himself a goal today.
Oh no, Charlie Kendall.
No,
sorry,
it's Charlie Kendall who's coming off. Lewis Walker just happened to do that thing where he starts to walk towards the touchline, deceives everybody. It is going to be Charlie Kendall who's coming off, and Tom Leahy coming on loan from Millwall till January. But Eastleigh have got themselves back on level terms at the Silver Lake. 10 minutes to go, 2-2. Frustrating by the way that goal came about, especially with a man being completely left free at the front post just to flick it beyond the goalkeeper. There's a bit of a shirt pull between Gorman and Jake Taylor. There's still a point for Woking, but they've had the chances to get that 2-goal cushion, which they haven't taken. I'm just trying to get confirmation of who did get that goal for Eastleigh. It was through quite a number of bodies. It is Chris Maguire, the number 7, as Leahy. It's a ball over the top down the right hand side. Wins a throw for Woking deep inside at Eastleigh territory. And Chris Maguire with his 4th goal of the season. That lovely little flick at the front post. Exciting game, that's for sure. Moss on this right hand side. Back to Gorman. Into the penalty area. It goes past Lewis Walker at the back post. It's Conte. Will it drop for Leahy? Takes a touch to his left. Will he strike it? He will, into the side net. It gets blocked. Goes out of play for a corner. And Leahy, having only been on the pitch for a matter of minutes, almost put his mark on the game.
Yeah, no question here of Woking settling for a draw. They know that their best defence is attack, and they're really going for that. And Tom Leahy really close there, and good ball in against Gorman, whipped in, very dangerous, and could so easily have been another Woking goal.
Yeah, Eastleigh failing to clear their lines, and I have to say, Tom Leahy with really quick mind, quick feet at that point. He's 6 yards out, he's got a few players in front of him, shifts it to his left foot, wasn't able to get the connection that he wanted, but Eastleigh managed to throw a man in front of that effort. But it is going to be a corner, so still excitement for Woking with 82.5 minutes on the clock. They're only their 2nd corner of the evening. The left arm goes up from Gorman in front of those Woking fans. Delivery, and it's gone over towards the far side of the penalty area. A few players threw themselves to the ground. It's going to go out of play off an Eastleigh man. Pressure sustained on this near side. It's going to be a throw the Cardinals' way. Short throw towards the byline, back to Moss. Hits it first time into the penalty area, goes through a crowd of players, and Eastleigh do hack it clear, but only as far as a Woking man. And then that ball forward is a bit fortuitous in the way it found its way out to Moss on the right channel. Lovely back heel from Leahy, but not enough on it for Moss to get on it. And Eastleigh through Francelet clear it out of play for another throw about 10 yards from the corner flag, but bright ideas from Woking. Yeah,
and the last 2 or 3 minutes have been all Woking really around the box, and looking dangerous. Tom Leahy's made a real impact since he came on.
And that's a poor effort into the box from Moss. It was a low delivery and it didn't make it past the front post, but they do have themselves another throw just a few yards behind them as Gorman has the ball taken off his toes by Chris Maguire, who scored the equaliser. That's gone straight into the chest of a Woking player. Lewis Walker to his right to Leahy, will strike it. Too much on that, a couple of yards over the crossbar. Didn't trouble Joe McDonnell, but Leahy getting himself in the thick of the action since coming on.
Yeah, and I like that in a striker. You know, he's just come on, snapshot, have a go. You know, he's full of confidence, and obviously backs himself to do well in those situations. He didn't come off that time.
Long ball by Jake Vokins in search of Chris Maguire. It's headed up in the air by a Woking defender, but only as far as Taylor, who brings it towards the left corner of the box. He's then muscled off the ball, and Gorman will exchange passes, and then they'll try and hit it first time down the right channel. Leahy put his thumb up, but it will go into the hands of Eastleigh, who spread it out towards that right hand side now with Richard Brindley, and he will drive forward at a bit of pace. Cross into the penalty area in search of Taylor. Will fall to Warrior, 25 yards from goal. He can't get it out of his feet, and he's brought down. A challenge by Woking, and Eastleigh have got themselves a free kick about 25 yards from goal, right of centre. Very much a shooting position for the Spitfires. 5 minutes to go.
What a pulsating game! It's just chance at both ends, but this is a brilliant position for Eastleigh, just to their right of the penalty area.
Well,
looks like Maguire again.
Well, when you've got Chris Maguire and Jake Vokins as your set-piece choice, can either hit it with the left foot, with the right. Will Jääskeläinen has got to keep his concentration, because it could be either the number 7 or the number 3 who will be striking this towards goal. Chris Maguire, you'd expect, being the set-piece specialist, and it is going to be Maguire, and it's a couple of yards over the bar, and that doesn't trouble Jääskeläinen, and it remains 2-2.
Yeah. A good let off there for Woking, because that was a great position for Maguire, and he hits it cleanly but just over the bar.
You were talking about earlier, Paul McCallum almost looks like he doesn't want to be there when he's playing. Chris Maguire, he just looked like, I'll hit this one. Yeah. Almost a lazy swipe of the ball. 2-2 here at the Silver Lake, but I reckon there might be another goal in this one, the way things are going. The ball drops in the centre circle, bit of a tussle between Warrior and Maguire is then hacked to the floor, but no foul, and Woking are coming forward as they try and feed it through the defence, and Francelette is alert to snuff that one out. And now Eastleigh will try and come forward and break over the left-hand side with Vokins. He's got McDonald ahead of him. May have run down a cul-de-sac and then just toe pokes it down the left channel, and it's going to go out of play for a Woking throw in line with the edge of our own box. 3.5 minutes of normal time to go. Kelly Evans, flat ball into the middle of the park. Woking now try and feed it through to Lee. He's got Marr for company, and Marr uses his experience just to guide it back to Joe McDonald, who under a bit of pressure from Lee, he hits it up towards halfway. Eastleigh collect the loose ball. Taylor, and now he's trying to thread it through the defence to McDonald, and he's got it behind Moss. McDonald into the penalty area, lines up his man onto his right foot, runs into a wall of Woking players, and the Cardinals get it up towards halfway, and Marr will let that one go out of play for a throw and just slow things down, calm things down. It is frenetic at the Silver Lake.
This is a great game. Whatever the final score, I think it's been both teams are giving it a go, and it's been exhilarating at times.
Hodgson works out towards Brindley on that right hand side, and he tries to thread a ball down the right channel, but no one was on the same wavelength, and it will go harmlessly out of play for a goal kick. 2.5 minutes to go at the Silver Lake, plus any additional time. Live commentary on the BBC Sport website and app, BBC Radio Surrey. Woking at the moment, they were 2-1 up, but certainly if it ended 2-2, it's not a point to be sniffed at, that's for sure. Away from home against a side yet to taste defeat in the National League on home soil. Eastleigh without Paul McCallum, who came off injured. Ball drops to Andrews with his left foot, hooks it over his shoulder to Walker, who wants it first time and gets it down the right hand side towards the byline. He'll try and cross first time, he does, but there wasn't a man in a Woking shirt who was in a decent position to get on the end of that, and it will go out of play for a throw on the far side to Eastleigh. Tense here at the Silver Lake. Are either side going to put themselves back in front? Vokins into Maguire, whose goal, his lovely little deft header, is the reason that the points will be shared at the moment. Eastleigh have it once again with Maguire, right of the centre circle. Floats towards the left hand side with Warrior. He's got Vokins in space, and he's got about 3 yards to try and whip him across. Takes the deflection off Moss and out for a corner. Arms up from Moss in frustration, perhaps why Vokins was allowed to have so much space and time on that left hand side to try and get across it.
Yeah, and Francelette coming forward, the big man, and well, a few big men, but he's the one who stands out. But most of the corners have gone right under the Will Jääskeläinen's crossbar.
We're in the final minute of normal time. It will be hung towards the back post, and the header drops onto the top of the goal, but it came off a Woking player last. It will be another corner, the third of the game for Eastleigh, and they are just trying to turn the screw and put their noses back in front. It remains 2-2 at the moment, but danger for Woking. In comes the delivery from Maguire again, hung underneath the back post. Warrior doesn't get the connection as the ball is headed towards the edge of the box. Eastleigh will try and keep the pressure on, and though Hodgson has just hit it straight up into the air, and unfortunately for Woking it's gone straight to an Eastleigh player. We'll have 5 minutes of additional time, which we have just ticked over into. Maguire on this left hand side, McDonald not able to get the ball out of his feet, and Woking just poke it out of play for a throw, which Vokins takes quickly. Eastleigh not satisfied with the point. I don't think either side is satisfied with the point at the moment. It's going to be an interesting final 5. Brindley on the right hand side, quick feet from Shade, but not really going anywhere with it. Warrior on halfway, hits it round a corner, and here comes Brindley down the right hand side to Taylor, who's found himself in a bit of space. Gets out of that pocket, and the cross will come in first time. Woking get ahead to it, and it turns out that there was a foul in that build up there, and the visitors will have themselves a free kick on the edge of their own box.
And some supporters leaving now, which I'm surprised at, because anything could happen in this next 5 minutes, really. I
was commentating for BBC Radio Solent on the weekend as Southampton hosted Ipswich, and we were saying how fans were leaving with Southampton at 1-0 up with about 5 minutes to go, and then Ipswich got themselves an equaliser. Now, of course, Southampton fans probably didn't want to see that, but certainly not over, that's for sure.
As you say, both sides are. Neither side is playing for a point here. They're both, if they get the opportunity, are taking quick throws. They're on the front foot.
Marr drives it out towards the right-hand side. Eastleigh coming again. Bit of space for Brindley to bring the ball forward over halfway. Short ball to Tyree Shade. Woking holding Eastleigh at arm's length in the final proceedings here. Marr left of the centre circle. Have Woking settled for a point. Eastleigh with all of the ball at the moment as we tick towards the end of the game. Hodson rides a couple of challenges and then plays it back to Francelette, and Marr will have it in the left centre back position, back to Francelette. Brindley over halfway now with Hodson, and Maguire then finds Hodson. Lovely run down the right channel. Will he get a ball in? He does, into the box to Tyree Shade, right side of the box. Got 3 men around him. Maguire will float the ball towards the back post. It will bounce towards the edge of the penalty area. Cries of handball, and Woking do well to get it up towards halfway, but Calvin Davis catches the ball off the pitch, I have to say. But there is an Eastleigh player down. No, Vokins is now back on and happy to continue, but Eastleigh have got themselves a throw a couple of yards inside their own half. Short to Warrior, who's got no one on him, as Woking happy to just condense the space. Deep
now, aren't they, soaking up this pressure?
They are sitting back. Brindley and Shade on the right hand side. He's got Warrior in the middle if he wants him, but he goes on a bit of a mazy run, but doesn't really gain any ground. Warrior now with the ball. To his left is Marr. Firm pass out towards Vokins on the left hand side. Marr runs forward. McDonald will receive the ball 30 yards from goal, cuts in on his right foot and will drive it. It's deflected, comes off the foot of Woking and all the way back towards halfway, where Hodson will collect right of centre. Eastleigh come forward once again. About a minute and a half left of additional time. 2-2 between Eastleigh and Woking. Both sides have had the lead in this game. Vokins receives the ball on the left hand side, flicks it into Marr. Lovely little flick out towards the left hand side, but the referee's whistle goes on the edge of the box. Dismay from Eastleigh fans, and Woking high fives all round as they manage to just sustain that period of pressure.
And Matt Ward coming on now for Woking, just for the last couple of minutes, replacing, I suspect, is it Lewis Walker? Yeah, Lewis Walker.
Lewis Walker coming off in place of Matt Ward. Got Woking back on level terms in the second half in the first half, after great work by Ben Winter, but his race is run and Matt Ward has come on, and already he's pointing to Will Jaskalainen as where he wants it. He wants it down that right hand side. Jaskalainen will try and find him, and he does find the feet of Ward, picks up the ball, and his second touch goes straight to an Eastleigh player as Warrior tries to wriggle himself out of a tight spot, and Ward will pick up the loose ball. Nice feet, and he's worked his way into the middle of the Eastleigh half as the ball is poked out to Conte, but he's forced back by Shade. Woking, if they want to try and break the deadlock yet again, will have to get it forward, which they do, and Leahy forces Franceletta to hit that behind. Has that gone out for a throw, or is that a corner?
Throw, I think. Yeah, it looks like it's a throw, although...
Yeah, it is going to be a throw on that far side. Potential just to launch a long one and try and steal the 3 points if they can. It will be the final action of the game, you would imagine. Deep in Eastleigh territory, down by the corner flag. The throw is short, and that is going to be the full-time whistle at the Silver Lake in what has been a fantastic game of football. It's finished Eastleigh 2, Woking 2. Eastleigh took the lead in the first half through Tyree Shade, a lovely side-footed finish driven into the bottom corner, but Lewis Walker got things back on level terms, and then in the second half, a back post header, or maybe a chest from Ben Winter from a well-worked corner, put the Cardinals in the lead, but they couldn't hold on with 10 minutes to go as Chris Maguire at the front post was able to flick a header backwards beyond Will Jaskalainen. Neither side could then find a winner as it ends all square. But I have to say, Ian, it's been a really good game of football.
It is. It's a really good advert, that, for National League football. I think both teams, neither team was settling for a point. Neither team was defending deep. They're both giving it a go to get a positive result. Again, as we said, as Woking fans said against Fylde, both teams will feel they could have done enough to win it. But no, a very positive game. A positive game, I would say, from a Woking perspective, just to see much slicker into passing, good play, the team kept going, and I feel there was a real sign of a team beginning to gel.
Thank you very much for joining me this evening, Ian. Sutton at home next up for Woking. We've managed to get a really solid point on the road against a side that before this game had won 4 and drawn 1 of their 5 matches so far. Eastleigh do remain unbeaten, but for Woking it's a very good away point. Full time at the Silver Lake, it's Eastleigh 2, Woking 2.